Hello there, Leo, and welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for the month of August, and I hope that this month is getting off to a fantastic start for all of you. This month I was inspired to try something new at the very beginning of each video. What I did for all 12 signs before getting started was to do an energetic download for everything for the month of August. And one thing that I saw for all signs this month was the energy of transmutation or transformation. And basically, it's allowing you to be an alchemist this month, to take something perhaps that wasn't working before and sort of recast it into something better. And when I meditated the night before starting all of these videos, what I saw was two images that were coming through. The first was the moon itself. And for me, the moon, just like you would see in the card, indicates that primal knowing, that inner knowledge that you have of what to do, what not to do. And also, it's the energy of being able to look at something that maybe scared you when you were a kid or in the past when you weren't ready to face it, but now you have a chance to look at it with new eyes, with fresh perspective, and overcome any of those fears or anxieties. So I see an ability for second chances, and as I said earlier, to take something that seemed like it was bigger than life before and now be able to sort of hold it in your hands and handle it, or again, do something different with it. So that's very exciting. And the other piece that came through was that there would be the energy of like the magician, which is a channeling card where you can take the divine energy and bring it into the physical. So as we look at everything sign specific to you this month, I'm going to try to also pull it to that overarching thread of transmutation, transformation, or alchemy. Before I get started, I'd like to remind you that you can always use these videos for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign. And of course, you can always watch it on behalf of someone in your life that you care about, especially a family member or a partner. If you don't happen to know your sun, rising, or moon, just stick with the sign that you were born under and you're going to receive all the guidance you need just by simply doing that. For all of my returning viewers, I'd like to welcome you back. It's always great to see you, your continued work on yourself, your enthusiasm for what I'm doing, and all the love and support here. It really makes a difference, and it inspires me to come back every month, so thank you so much. If you're brand new, let me just introduce myself as well. My name is Ashbaugh, and here's how I organize the videos every month. I like to start off with channeled information. This is by far my favorite part because it's just me tapping into my intuition and bringing through whatever knowledge wants to come through about the month ahead. After that, I get a little bit deeper into all of the energies available to you by pulling a full Celtic cross. And in this Celtic cross, we'll be able to see the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens. And again, this is a very organic opportunity for the universe to communicate. And I know that there's certain areas that you like, so right after that, I make sure that I highlight those areas in health, wealth, love, and destiny. That's the expanded forecast. If you like what you see here, and I hope you do, please stick around until the end, because at that point I'll let you know how you can give back to the channel, ranging from liking and subscribing to becoming a patron and supporting the channel either through a one-time contribution or Patreon, or even here by joining on YouTube. Or if you'd like, you can also schedule an appointment with me. I'm going to get into all of that later because right now I know you're here for the forecast, so let's get into the channeled message for the month of August. As I meditated on your cards this month, what came through was this energetic shockwave or shift. It actually felt almost as if the universe was pushing me. The sole purpose of this was to create some momentum or some movement. As most of you know, I live in California, so I actually feel the earth move from time to time. And I know a little bit about earthquakes because of living here almost 2 decades. The other thing is I really enjoyed studying geology back in school. So it's not just the planetary movements that fascinate me sometimes, but I'm also fascinated by the movement of the plates here on planet Earth. And if you study that, you'll know that there are a few different types of plate movement. Sometimes they jut up against each other, sometimes they go underneath or above, and sometimes they go back and forth. This felt to me like that back and forth momentum. And if you look at that, what happens sometimes is there'll be tension that builds up over time, and there has to be a release at some point, and that's where things slide forward. You have a choice this month to either take the driver's wheel and decide to move on your own volition, your own velocity, your own momentum, or I feel at a certain point there's going to be a shift that happens that basically makes you move forward. And that could be described as a tower incident. That's what I was kind of feeling was the energy of the tower. We'll see if it shows up here. But if not, it's something that I feel coming through in the next 3 or 4 months. So I'm encouraging you to really look critically at all parts of your life and think, am I happy? Am I ready to make a change? And if I'm ready to make a change, what's holding me back? I mentioned when I was looking at all signs, the moon came through. The moon shows up when we need to look at our fears and resolve them. When it communicates with us, the energy of the moon or the moon card, it comes through subtly. So you may be picking up on things as a repetitive thought, something coming through in your dreams, or as we hear this plane going overhead, it could be something that eventually comes forward because you've been not paying attention to it. So I really want you to pay attention to the subtle first before it becomes noticeable, like that sound that we just heard in the exterior. Just to review it here, this is my automatic writing here. I wrote down momentum as the primary thing that I was feeling, but there was this other energy here. Again, are you gonna drive or are you gonna be driven? And either way, you're gonna advance. What really comes through is a chance to exercise free will, build up on your own confidence, and again, take control. Don't be afraid. The moon is coming through and saying it's okay, you're gonna be ready for it, and the sooner you take action and control and make your own decisions this month, the more you're gonna be able to affect the outcome. And this is a perfect segue now to take a look at the cards and see how you can be empowered to make the best choices possible in the month ahead. So I'm gonna give the cards a nice shuffle here. I'll be quiet while I'm doing that because just like you, I want to see where they fall, and I get additional information as I meditate while I'm doing the Celtic cross. After that, I'm going to pull up each and every card and I'll relate it to the messages for the month ahead. All right, let's get started here with your Catalyst card. Just a reminder, the Catalyst is a tool for you to access the highest frequencies of the month. In many ways, this is the most important message that we're going to look at. It acts as a connective thread for all of the cards in the Celtic cross. And again, it's going to help elevate thoughts and energy. The message on the card is deceptively simple, but amazingly powerful. And it's definitely something that comes straight from the archangelic realm. It says, grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. So we're really looking at gratitude. We'll talk more about grace in a second. I had an experience once when I was first opening up, and it's probably been well over 10 years since I had this message come through, but I was meditating, I felt the energy of an archangel, and as I was receiving guidance from that high source, what it told me was, you could say thanks more. I remember talking to a spiritual teacher after that saying, did I do something wrong? Because basically an angel just told me that I need to say thanks a lot more. And what that person explained to me was no, it was actually telling me how I could receive more from that higher source. Because when I say thank you, and you have to mean it, like really look around and see something in your life that you appreciate, or in that instance, just really kind of surrender to the love and the guidance coming through and say, thank you so much for spending time and energy working with me, working on me, and allowing me to grow. And when I sort of jettison out that love to that higher being, then it feels it, and it also feels love for me, and together our heart spaces expand and it can download so much more information. So rather than it being sort of a form of it chastising me, it was saying, no, when you love, when you live with your heart completely open, and you really are kind of beaming out that energy to everything in your presence, whether it's, we say grace before we eat, whether it's consuming the food, whether it's just giving thanks for a relationship or a conversation or an opportunity, you then intensify the experience and you gain more from it. That's why you bless the food before you eat, because you're really going to be able to soak in everything from that meal. And it's also just great because it makes you feel more appreciation for your life. You don't feel like there's this lack, because when you feel that things can't happen or won't happen or aren't going to be able to expand for you, that limiting thought actually starts to contract opportunities around you and push them away. And so we want to create, as I said earlier, that sort of push in the positive direction. So if you can start with little things like being grateful for, if your health is in a good place, you could just say, thank you for this good health. I may be struggling with other areas, but I know that I have a strong mind and a strong body, and I have the ability now to make the changes that I need. So thank you for this clarity of thought, this clarity of being. Everything's going to fall into place. You could be grateful for that, mind, body, and spirit. You could be grateful for something good that happened. Maybe money came in, maybe love came in. Maybe you just stumbled upon something fantastic and you just want to say thank you. The same way it feels good for us to hear it, it's also good to send it out into the universe. And what it says is, I'm not needy, I'm not greedy, this is good. And then the universe is like, great, here's some more. So I want you to open up your heart, not only because people around you, beings around you, energy around you will be attracted to that, but also because it's just going to be a lot easier and a lot more fun to live in that place where you think things are good. And so this is one of the key things to shift this month, is that you are blessed, things are good, and then when you start to walk with grace, you're also blessing people around you. They feel better, they get the sense that when they're around you, it's going to be all right. And that's the sort of interesting thing about this program that you're broadcasting. So when you believe in yourself, when you believe things are shifting, when you're appreciative, people just generally think your energy's bright, you're warm, warm personality. You've heard that. Don't be afraid to embrace that change of thought and that change of energy, because as we see here, it's going to open up new paths for you, okay? Let's move along now to the center card and continue looking at what's coming through this month. The message that I see in the central card is that whatever you're waiting for is going to happen, or might even be, as far as proximity goes, closer than you think. It's happening sooner than you think, or it's closer than you think. The Six of Swords in reverse is kind of the reverse of something moving away. It's coming towards you. The other thing that's happening here is that some of you are overdue to make a move. And the reason I'm saying that is your environment card is the Devil reverse, which means that you have to take action. And this could be, for some of you, leaving a relationship, leaving a job, moving. The Devil comes through when you've learned something that is going to really make this decision much easier. So if you've been dragging your feet and thinking, I really need to make this change, but I'm just not ready yet, the universe will provide an option and a valid reason for many of you this month. You may not exactly like the rationale, because the Devil can sometimes be a difficult realization when it comes through. It can be sometimes a lie that comes to you from word of mouth, or you may even hear it straight from that person and it shocks you. It can also be that you just discover finally that something that you thought was one thing is flipped around and you learn the truth. So there is a general message between the two of these of moving away from stagnation, moving into enlightenment, but in order to do so, probably having to leave something behind. Right on top of this card, the Six of Swords, we have the Seven of Swords. So the Seven of Swords is also a card of leaving, but I would say there is a nudge here to be as transparent and as honest as possible, because you'll notice this person sort of stealing away in the night, right? We see the Devil card in the environment and it's reversed. That's basically saying, don't do it this way. So the Seven of Swords and the Six of Swords together can sometimes be ignoring someone, ghosting someone, leaving without an explanation. And if for some reason you're the person that feels like you're tempted to just walk away without an explanation, the Devil in reverse is saying, no, don't do that. This is a limiting idea. This is something that will hold you back. This is something where you're going to actually keep some sort of an etheric cord with this person, because they're going to harbor feelings of anger, resentment. There's going to be misunderstandings. And also, we talked about the tension that can exist between what's right and wrong. This can create sort of like an argument. Someone could snap. You don't want to do that. It's better to release the tension, and that can just be, again, through direct communication, a straightforward message. Yes, it's kind of like pulling a Band-Aid off, but it's better than just letting things sit. It's not the right thing to do. You have to move forward and be honest and transparent. As we look in the deep past, that's actually what we see here too. The Fool card is about moving on. So I do feel that many of you have already come to the understanding that it's time for a new start. Again, that new start can be in multiple areas, but for many of you, it's going to be a change of relationship, a change of job, or a change of where you're living here, because the Ten of Pentacles is tied to all of that. It can be marriage, it can be domestic situation, it can be your money. So don't worry too much if you feel like this is a big change, because it is, but energetically everything is showing me that that's where your heart is. When I'm looking at recent past, in fact, we have the Page of Cups, and that's saying follow your heart. This is also a very creative energy for this month. So I want to kind of rewind here. So if you're not feeling like you need to move on or break up or any of that, what we see here is that taking some sort of a break would be very advantageous for you. This is a card of an overdue vacation, and this is about saying you just need to take that break. Don't second guess yourself. And in doing so, your heart's going to open up. I'd spoken earlier about the power of an open heart, and that's going to translate to creative expression, and for some of you, a potential love interest or a deepening of an existing relationship. All of these things are good. The cards that we just looked at can also indicate that love is coming into your life and opportunities coming into your life. Because for those of you that have already kind of gotten ahead of the curve, made the shift that you needed to with the Six of Swords and the Fool, then what this says is you've followed your heart, that you've spoken up and expressed what you want, and now with the Ten of Pentacles, this could be a brand new job, a brand new love situation, abundance and wealth. That's a great resource card. I'm actually feeling really good about where you're headed as far as your overall resources are this month. So I think that once you let go of whatever you needed to, then things are going to be great for you. So don't kind of drag your feet. And if you've already let go, then what I see is a lot of growth this month. And with the Page of Cups and the King of Swords, there's also an encouragement for you to really speak your mind and speak with passion this month, because that's going to get people inspired and kind of pulled into whatever it is you're trying to create, whatever you're trying to sell, and you'll have a lot of takers for that, because this is really good for business and it's really good for, again, overall abundance and work and money. Just a couple of other notes before we move on. I want to mention that if there's legal agreements this month, they actually look really good. Again, the important thing is that both parties are transparent and open. If something isn't, you have to bring that out and deal with it as soon as possible. The Devil in reverse is basically saying both sides know that there's kind of like this elephant in the room. The sooner you acknowledge it, the sooner you can get to a healthy place. If you ignore something this month, remember the earthquake thing where it can shift, the tension will build and possibly something can fall apart. Don't let it fall apart. There's a lot to protect. Honesty, transparency, grace and gratitude, they're going to go a long way towards healing this. And you might find, as I said earlier, that it's something you can handle. It's not going to be bigger than life. When you fear something, when you kind of live in the shadows get bigger, the fear grows, and your own power starts to diminish. Don't diminish your power, and don't give your power to others. Now, I pulled the camera down for a moment because I wanted you to see the connection between all of these cards. In the environment is the Devil card in reverse, and all of these are reversed, which means that this is where the primary work needs to happen. Now, the interesting thing is, if we can heal what is in the environment, everything can flip here. This is about removing chains, removing doubt, removing fear, being transparent, basically not letting temptation or fear kind of sully anything. And the areas that you really want to focus on with the Six of Wands in reverse, this is about putting too much power in the gossip, in the public opinion, or in trying to please others. And with the High Priestess in reverse, this is about not really owning your own power, not listening to your intuition, and using your own sort of negativity to, probably without your own knowledge, kind of create your own self-fulfilling prophecies. And then with the Magician reverse, it can be all about you lacking focus, or again, putting energies into places that you shouldn't. So now I'm going to turn the camera up and we're going to talk about how to flip each one of these cards into the affirmative. All right, now for the fun part. Let's talk about how you can take this energy in the reverse and pull it upright. First of all, trust your instinct. With the High Priestess in the upright position, it's saying you are powerful, you are perceptive, and if you can pick up on something and honor that feeling, then you have your own compass. You're going to be able to avoid a lot of pitfalls that could be coming through this month. They could be very subtle, coming through in a dream. It could just be a thought that enters your mind when you're going through something. Honor these forms of intuition, they're all valid. The other thing with this is, and there's a reason it's called High Priestess, you are, through your own thoughts, creating reality. So if you believe in yourself, then others will believe in you. If you don't believe that you can accomplish something, or if you lack faith in a partner or something in your life, you've created a very tangible energetic block that will create difficulties in allowing for the highest possible good to happen. So trust your intuition and think in a positive light or in a positive frequency. This opens up doorways and windows of opportunity for you. The other thing with this is, how clear is your vision of the future? That crystal ball is symbolic. You'll see that same crystal ball in the Two of Wands. You could meditate with the Two of Wands card this month and think about what it is that you're trying to bring into Genesis, into fruition. When you know it, when you see it, when you feel it, and ultimately when you believe it, that's when it starts to manifest. That's when you can become the High Priestess. So believe in yourself, believe in your intuition, and have a clear vision of the future. And you've got this card in the upright position, okay? I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the Devil card, because what we're doing with this right now is, as I tell you how to flip your ego, your hopes and fears, and your outcome, we're basically negating the energy of the Devil. So let's move straight to hopes and fears. We have what is basically a very good card here, the Six of Wands. This shows that people want to support you, but there could, for many of you, be a fear that you're not measuring up to expectations of friends, of family, of society, of coworkers. And largely, this could be something that's in your head because the Devil was right underneath it. So what I want you to do is to believe in yourself and trust that people are going to be able to see it from your perspective. For those of you that are artists, we have this beautiful Page of Cups, and you see this one is very much in the vein of creation. The connection of all of these cards that I'm seeing is create for the art, for the story, for the character, for the experience of creation, not for an agent, not for what you think will be a public success. Sometimes it's what bucks the trend or creates some sort of a new fad that is what's successful. So your ability to tap into something atypical, unique, even a little awkward, could actually be what sets you apart from others. Basically, you don't want to dilute that essence that makes you special. And if we look back at, for instance, in music, certain eras stand out because of what was going on. If we look at the 90s, for instance, there was that grunge energy that was coming through, and that's because there was a lot of tension in society, changing norms, the same thing that we saw in the 60s and 70s. And actually, pretty much all of the decades leading up into the millennium, you saw like massive shifts in the music because it was the end of the old ways. There hasn't been as many shifts in the past 20 years, but when you look at everything from the 60s to the 2000s, there was a lot of change. But what set each of those decades apart was that something was different. You don't want to constantly keep making the same thing. So whatever you're trying to do in your life, do it because it feels right. Do it because it's the right thing at the right time, and trust that this month you could actually be a trend setter rather than following the trend. And you're going to be moving ahead rather than, again, having that motion pull you. That's one of the big messages, especially if you're in business or an artist or trying to be an influencer or a change maker. Trust yourself, trust your voice. It's essential. All right, let's flip around the Magician and talk about how you can really maximize the energy of this. First of all, it's by staying focused. That was a common message that we saw with both the High Priestess and the Magician. So really see what it is you're trying to create. With this one, it's don't get distracted by too many things. So you can dabble in a little bit of everything, but really make sure that you have one central focus, do one thing at a time, and keep your multitasking to a minimum since that card was reversed. The other thing with the Magician is when it comes to any sort of temptation in your life, this is showing you that you're stronger than you think, and it's about valuing how far you've come rather than that momentary sort of thrill that you might get. So whatever it is that you've stepped away from, whether it was, a thought pattern, some sort of a substance abuse, or even just a feeling that, self-defeating purpose where you feel like you can't do something. If you've overcome these things, stay on that path this month. and channel your energy in the right place. The last thing that I'd like to mention with the Magician is really going back to what I said when I was looking at all 12 zodiac signs. I mentioned that everybody had access to that energy this month. That's the ability to channel divine healing, divine knowledge, and divine guidance in your life right now, in anything that you do. Open that channel through what we talked about earlier by saying thank you, by gratitude and grace. If you do this, you're going to have an abundance of energy, basically an endless abundance of energy coming through that will give you the power that you need to make all of these changes and to diminish the power of this card. You have everything you need to overcome this. And if you do, then you can really embrace what I see here in the near future, which was the Ten of Pentacles, success, growth, wealth, stability. And the other thing that I see for some of you is that there could be a divine partnership of sorts. For me, when I see Emperor and Empress or High Priestess and Magician, this can show some sort of really deep partnership. This doesn't necessarily come through as romantic. These two are creative partners more than anything. So some of you might find a person that comes into your life that could be a great mentor, a great teacher, and they're going to help you overcome some of the limits that we see here as well. So it's an exciting month overall for everybody, and I feel like the general message this month is make that shift, get ahead of the curve, and if you do that, then you're going to be able to embrace this abundance here. Okay? Let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. We're going to start off with your mind, body, and spirit. I simply call this your health card, but it does encompass those three areas. So let's give the cards a shuffle and see what's coming through for health. So this month, the message is all about self-love, and sometimes self-love is difficult because it requires stepping away from something in your life. We have the Devil in reverse, which is stepping away from a situation that could be either emotionally or physically taxing on you or abusive to you or toxic. It can be about being honest with yourself and with others, coming out and saying something that you need to. It could simply be walking away and saying enough is enough, but not simply ghosting someone, saying that this is why I need to do it, standing up for yourself. Self-love takes multiple forms. It's that honesty, it's that transparency, it's the bravery that's necessary to walk away. When you do this and when you start to walk with grace and gratitude, you will become a magnet for more love in your life. You're going to feel better. That self-confidence is going to spill over into wealth, and you're going to attract better opportunities as well. So love yourself, and if there's something that you don't love about yourself, instead of feeling that that is self-fulfilling and sort of like an inevitability, put it instead as a goal for you to overcome. Work past that and know that with these two very powerful cards, you can and you will be able to create that which you dream of in your life. But if you continue to sort of think it's not possible, those are also self-fulfilling prophecy cards. So believe in the positive, love yourself, make the changes necessary to feel that love. All right, let's look now at wealth and see what's coming through not only for money, but opportunities in the month ahead. We have some interesting notes here in your wealth area because this is all about passion. The card says heart awakening, awaken to acceptance and divine love, give and receive in balance. So with this, my first question to you is, do you feel on a heart and soul level that you love what you're doing? If you do, then really embrace it this month. Don't hold back, go sort of all in. Surround yourself by others who feel the same way. Particularly since I saw that devil card in the environment. It's time to weed out people that really aren't on the same level as you are. So you lead with your heart, surround yourself with others that lead with their heart, and great things will happen. If you are not satisfied, if you don't feel like there is reciprocity, if you're holding back for some reason, this is the month to make that change, to get ahead of the shift, because there might be some things going on wherever you're working, wherever you're living, that ultimately are going to lead to that tower energy that I saw in a few months. The devil right now is showing a lack of transparency, a lack of honesty. As we said earlier, the Six of Swords can show ghosting. The Seven of Swords can show things going on behind closed doors. This is the month where you want to bring all of that stuff into the light and say, I believe in myself, I'm ready for something more, I'm ready for balance. So find the balance, feel that you are really putting your time into something that makes a difference. One last note with this, some of you may have gotten sort of a dream opportunity that came through. Don't second guess yourself. It came through because you're really ready for it. Maybe you don't believe you are, and that's the one thing you have to overcome this month. But based on the fact that I see 10 of Pentacles in the near future, and then I have this beautiful heart awakening, if something great happened, it's okay. Don't think that something bad necessarily has to come through with that. The only thing that I would take a look at is the contract. Have a good lawyer take a look at all of the small print or the fine print. But other than that, sometimes good things happen and you just want to embrace that. Let's go ahead now and see what's coming through for love. And this isn't just your romantic relationships, but it's how you're going to be connecting with all people in your life. There's a very interesting message here in your love area, having a lot to do with work. Let me read the card and then we'll talk about how this relates to you. It's titled Options and it says, consider the career possibilities that are open to you. The card is reversed and there's a focus here, of course, on the scales. This reminds me of justice in reverse. And typically justice in reverse is a decision to separate, to walk away, or to sort of put things back into balance here. So for many of you, you might have a decision between focusing energy on a work or job situation versus putting energy into your personal life. So if you're single and happy, this is simply saying that this is a month where your professional life is going to really take most of your focus. If you're single and looking for love, there could be some challenges that come up, namely that I'm seeing a work card in the love area. So you might find love at work. For some of you, this could be tricky territory because there's a devil card in the environment. So if it's against policy or if it's coming in at an inconvenient time, you're going to have to sort of walk that line carefully. For those of you that are already in a relationship, this could simply be the choice between how much time to spend at home, how much to spend at work. No matter how you slice it this month, there is going to be some sort of an overlap or some sort of a challenge in respect to love and relationships and what you're doing for a living. In the best possible scenario, maybe you're working with your partner and you two can share in all of that experience together. But again, we have those cards earlier that showed that it's important to be transparent. It's important to speak up when something comes up and if there's a concern that you have, and to avoid any of those issues surrounding sort of fear, uncertainty, or not being honest. So as long as you're honest with yourself, as long as you're honest with those around you, I think you're going to be able to navigate through any of these challenges successfully. But you do want to tread carefully when you're mixing relationships and work, or when work somehow takes you away from your relationships. It could just be friendships as well. The Six of Swords can be travel. The Fool card can also be travel. So some of you may just have a lot of work-related travel. And again, this is sort of creating some boundaries and some issues that are coming up when it comes to your relationships. So good luck with all of that. I think with proper communication and with you knowing what you're trying to do and just being honest, that's going to help you successfully work through all of those things. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your Destiny card. Destiny, of course, is a way to check and see if you're headed on the right path. And also, if there's anything that you want to change, there may be a message in here giving you sort of a clear indication if that's the right thing to do. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and give the cards a shuffle. So what we're seeing here is that there's a reveal that's going to happen over the course of this month. Something that looks one way towards the beginning is going to be wildly different towards the end. For many of you, this could be a work situation or a long-term relationship situation. And as we saw, there is some overlap and some interconnected sort of issues that might surround those two. Be patient, be persistent, be honest, ask as many questions as you can. You're the light coming through the fog. You have the power to take away the veil that we see here. And the important thing for you is to be strong and communicative. This is the light. This is what will clear it up. Also, remember the big transmuting energy this month is to walk with grace, to act with grace, and also with gratitude. So be grateful for any of these challenges or any of this knowledge that comes to you. There will be something that is revealed this month, and when it's revealed, you will have the clarity to make the decision that you need to make. And there's so many cards of movement, both in the deep past and right in the center, that I feel that this month is really going to offer you a chance to sort of shake off any feelings of frustration or stagnation that you've had in the past. The ultimate energy of this month is really to reveal and to clear up things. So I look forward to hearing how that works for you and really what you find is that moment of clarity this month. Once you get that moment of clarity, you have the power of the High Priestess. You have the power of the Magician. And when you connect these with an open heart and the passion that you have in your life, you can create really exciting things. So I look forward to hearing how that works for all of you. In the meantime, let's go ahead now and review everything that we talked about, and then I'll give you the final word for this month. As we looked at your channeled message this month, it's all about momentum. The question is, are you going to be sort of dragged along, or are you going to get ahead of that momentum? I really encourage you to take the driver's wheel this month and embrace the energy of advancing forward. If you do this, you could also think of a different analogy. It's like surfing. If you can get onto that wave of energy at the right time, it's going to be easy. But if you're trying to play catch up or if you're too late, that's when things sort of fall apart. And as I mentioned, it didn't really present itself this month, but in the future, you might feel that tower energy. So take the wheel now, make the changes you need, and really embrace the momentum that wants to come through. Moving with both grace and gratitude, this will be your big transmuting energy, and this came through in your catalyst. It said through gratitude, joy expands. I would also say, in addition to that, opportunities are going to come through to you because people are going to be attracted to that grace and that gratitude. For some of you, there is an overdue shift that is happening this month with the Six of Swords, and that's a good thing. The Six of Swords is reversed, which means that anything that you've been waiting for, it's coming. Also, anything that seemed out of reach is now there. Some of you need to take care of yourself, though. This can show that you've been working too hard and you need a break. Now, it's crossed, however, by a card that involves trust and honesty. So if that break is moving out of a relationship or a job situation, this card is saying do it with as much notice, with as much transparency, and with as much honesty as possible. This is going to keep you in that grace and gratitude that we saw. And the card that's crowning your spread is the King of Swords. He's one of the most direct cards, especially when it's in the upright position. There's nothing to fear when that's upright. As we look in the deep past, many of you have already made that leap of faith or taken that risk, and you may be feeling energy, inspiration, and you might be channeling that into creative endeavors. This card can also indicate new love coming into your life, and for some of you, that could actually be in the form of an air sign. Be careful if you're entering into a new relationship. I didn't talk about this too much at the beginning, which is why it's good to stick around until the review, because in the environment, I see the Devil reverse, which can show that someone is unavailable when you first meet them, or the timing's off, or as we saw, it may be inappropriate. Perhaps you meet someone at work, or there's a conflict of interest, and you have to sort of sort this out. So tread carefully. It doesn't mean that you can't get into it, but you just, again, want to be honest and know about all of the risks associated with that. With the Ten of Pentacles, there's a chance that many of you may be coming into money or be happy with your resource situation. There could also be, for some of you, marriage, engagement, and great opportunities, honestly, when it comes to career and finance. The thing that we have to kind of look at this month is, are you fulfilled? Because when we looked at wealth here, we saw this Heart Awakening card, which really is encouraging you to only be doing things that make you feel like it's making a difference in your life, that your heart is fully attached to that, because that's going to be the key to future sustainability and wealth and happiness ultimately. With the High Priestess reverse, listen to your intuition. It's attached to the Devil reverse, which means that many of you have exactly what you need to avoid the situation. With the Environment card here, the main thing to do is to keep your eyes and ears open. We have that fog card or the veil card here. And as we see here, you want to be careful. I would say this month especially with sharing any secrets or saying something that you really don't want to get back to the source. That goes back to this. If you have to sort of edit yourself, it's better not to say it at all. Really act with grace and dignity and gratitude, and that's going to help you avoid potentially saying something that hurts someone, saying something that breaks a rule or a policy, or doing something that you know is eventually going to catch up with you. This card, to me, is completely avoidable. Using common sense, intuition, and paying attention to what's really good for everybody, that's going to be what's going to help you get out of that. I know I said earlier not to worry about what others think. That's different than what we're talking about here. If there's a public policy or something that could hurt a group or could somehow not benefit the greater good, obviously you want to avoid that. With the Six of Wands in reverse, you have the energy of support on your side. Don't mess that up. That's basically what this is saying. You don't want this to paralyze you if you're creative, but I want you to know that you basically have what it takes to kind of convey the message that you want to this bigger group. Trust yourself. Use your tools of creativity and communication, and this is going to work itself out naturally. It's when you try to only please people or you limit yourself because of fear of rejection that you basically negate your natural gift. The Magician reversed is reminding you to stay focused, again, to trust your innate skill to be able to do anything that you put your mind to. Just don't try to do everything for everyone. It is important to have boundaries and limits. Remember, being straightforward and not sort of ghosting people, not walking away from things, that's going to be key to your success. And again, keeping that image of grace and gratitude. The single most important message may actually exist here within health. We have self-love. To me, this is a foundational card. Without being healthy in mind, body, and spirit, all the other things that we see here will kind of crumble and fall apart. Love yourself, love what you're doing, love who you spend your time with. If you do this, everything's going to fall into place. So take care of this. Also take care of your body, eating well, sleeping well, getting a massage, etc. It's important this month to really honor yourself. As we look at wealth, we have a connection to your heart space. Do you love what you're doing? Are you doing something that also heals and helps other people? Some of you may be deciding to go into some sort of a work or a path, I should say, where that's part of it. Teaching, healing, and embracing other people's spiritual path. If that's the case, that's perfect. There was a message of choice when it comes to love, and also a warning that you may be finding an inconvenient relationship that pops up or some sort of a connection where you have to balance out work and your personal life. You're going to be able to do that as long as the communication stays open. Ultimately, this month is all about revealing things, and by the time it's finished, when that momentum has pulled you through the fog, you'll be at the top of the mountain and you'll be able to see to the other side. But there is some work that you have to do this month, and a lot of that has to do with open communication, trusting your intuition, and whenever something comes through that doesn't feel right, taking time to really deal with that so that you can clear up any of the doubt or the uncertainty that exists here. So this brings your monthly reading to a close. Hopefully it gave you everything you needed to walk through the month with confidence, and also kind of pulling up this veil so that you can see everything that is in front of you, all the options, like I say, the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens. The other thing that I really want you all to realize is that you're capable of developing your own skills so that you can do this also for yourself and others. That's why I'm here. I want to teach all of you to be light workers, to be more intuitive, and again, to spread that on the planet. If you ever want to talk a little bit more about something that we discussed today, or if you have a different question that I didn't have time to discuss in this general reading, please feel free to reach out. The first card in the video and also the first link below will allow you to connect with my booking site. There you can check out my rates and my availability, and if it makes sense, I really look forward to talking to you. If you would simply like to say thank you and in a small way support what you see here on the channel, I would love for you to do that. Simply click that second card in the video or the second link below it, and this will take you to my website. From there, you can either do a one-time contribution or something that is more sustaining, either through Patreon or YouTube itself. So know that these sorts of things make a really big impact in the health of this channel, from supplies to simply setting up the time necessary. It takes me about 12 days per month, 1 day for each video. To anybody that has done this in the past, thank you so much. This video is a direct result of that kindness and that generosity. And if you're thinking of doing it right now, thank you again. Any amount makes a difference, and I really appreciate you making the next round of videos possible. The third and final way that you can give back is super easy. It really just involves a few clicks. So if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that at this point, and feel free to leave a comment if you would like to do that as well. And then you can click on the third card and the third link, which will take you to my website where you can join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a newsletter if you're interested. And I would love for you to share what you see here on your social media networks. By doing that, you act as an ambassador and you help me share this message with others. And again, that's why I'm here every month. I want to empower, I want to help awaken, and hopefully create a nice, intelligent dialogue around spirituality here. So again, thank you for that level of advocacy. That also means so much, and it helps new people discover me. So thank you so much for doing that. Okay, let's now go to the closing message this month. I think the most important thing besides this self-love and self-care card is being able to reveal. Everything this month is going to come into clarity through your intuition, which we see here, through transparent and clear and open communication, and by really focusing your intention. Once you kind of tune out all of that noise that's going on in your life, you're going to be able to see things for what they truly are, not the way that things may be sort of presenting themselves initially. This reveal is going to be empowering, and for many of you, it's going to give you what you need to move forward without fear, without doubt, without guilt. And that's such a powerful thing, because the ultimate energy this month is really around opportunity. And just requires a little shift, a little move on your part, and you're going to then be able to get ahead of that movement that I saw that might be coming a few months down the line, which you really don't want to wait for. So be proactive, be clear, be honest, and this is really going to set you up for great things this month. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your journey. You have many choices in life, in YouTube, and again, it humbles me to be a part of this. So I wish you a lot of love, a lot of light, and I can't wait to see you again in 1 month's time.